Okay, my friends, we're going to do something a little different this evening, and that is that this movie has been dedicated to Tristan WALLNER from England, who sent me a little gift and asked a question. The question is, how can you hold your left arm steady? So, well, Tristan, there's a bunch of things that will help you, so let's go down the list. First of all, you should learn to do some push-ups, because that will make your shoulders and arms stronger. Oh, you can have all kinds of fancy equipment, but really, some push-ups will do just fine, and that will strengthen the muscles in the back of your arm here, right? I'll tell you why in a minute. So that's the kind of thing, and the little hand crushers help so that your fingers don't collapse and cause these jerks to start, because we all can do the jerk. I certainly can. You've seen it. Anyhow, I want you to hold your arm straight, irregardless of all the great archers that have a bend in their elbow. I want you to hold your arm straight, because there's much less chance of having your arm collapse if it's straight. And I'll show you why. If you're holding your arrow on and you need to lower the tip a little bit, to lower that tip a little bit, you actually have to relax this muscle right here. Not your bicep. Your bicep is for curling. When you're holding it on and you have a lot of pressure on there, if you relax this muscle a little bit so that you can lower it, the pressure in the bow will cause you to suddenly jerk. And that's why that happens. If you can do some push-ups and get this part of your arm stronger, and then hold your arm out. You see, if my arm is already out, it's not going down. It can only lower from the shoulder. It doesn't lower that way. Get it? So you've got a lot of pressure on the bow. Your arm is only slightly bent. You go to relax the muscle. You're not even aware that that's the muscle you relax. You're just watching the tip. But when you relax that muscle, it will suddenly jerk down. That's a big deal. So get that arm out straight and pull against that arm, and it will stay there. Okay? Now, there's another part that can happen, and that is your fingers can relax a little bit, and then you start doing the double jerk. So the thing with the fingers, the best thing with the fingers is to be able to release all the tension right down your arm, right through your hand, right to your fingertips. Very important. And the best way to do that is when you draw past your anchor, and you will feel that bow pulling on those fingers. And if you've got your fingers relaxed, your fingers will radius into right in behind the pressure line. And if you let go from there, that arrow will go straight. But if you don't have your fingers radiused so that the arrow comes off straight, you're going to jerk it off to the left or to the right. Bam, bam, bam. Where did that go? So those are the steps. Get strong enough that you can hold your bow out so that the shoulder controls the up and down, not your elbow, because that will start the jerk. Also, get your hands strong enough so that when you go back past your anchor, your fingers are pulled into the radius or the position from which the arrow will go straight. And if you can just relax everything and let go, you'll do pretty good, okay? So, Tristan, that's some of the steps. And if I can think of anything else, I'm going to tell you. Anyhow, we'll take a couple little shots just for what it's worth. Oh yeah, and Tristan was asking, he says that his instructors say that he's drawing too long. Well, I really don't know what to say about that, but this is what I will say. Look up my movie that I made, watch Howard Hill American Style Longbow, right? Howard Hill American Style Longbow. Don't release the don't release, release. Anyhow, you check that out, and I think that that will help you, you know. But if you have an Asian bow and they pull way back here, well, you're going to be pulling farther. If you have a heavier bow, you probably come someplace around the corner of your mouth. For me, it's just on my cheekbone, but, you know, that finger's at the corner of the mouth, that one's at the cheekbone. It's really the same area, just where you're touching, whether you have pressure on this part of your face, or that part of your face, or this part of your face. Anyhow, so those are the kinds of things. So when the instructors are saying, oh, you're drawing too far, you're not drawing far enough, goodness only knows. But I was showing you that you draw so that your arm is all the way back, and wherever your hand goes, that's where it should go. Of course, I can put my cheek there, or I can put the corner of my mouth there, or I can put it behind my ear. So you can vary that, but that's your draw. That's how big your body is. Then that's where your anchor goes. You're not made out of rubber. You don't stretch. You don't shrink. You know? So anyhow, so that's really up to you to decide. I can't really discern what the instructors were saying, you know? Okay. Anyhow, let's fool around a little bit and we'll see what we come up with, eh, Tristan? Okay, buddy. Okay, Tristan, let's just take a couple of shots here. Start using a different arrow. They're only 5/16 in diameter. But they seem to work pretty good. Got to keep your arm straight. So if you can keep your arm straight, there's a lot less chance of jerking. So, you know, you can take a few shots. Generally speaking, you'll see that you can keep them in fairly close if you use this type of style. Okay, so back in a minute. Okay. You know, Tristan, there's several things going on. I find that having a permanent anchor works a little better than just drawing back and shooting strictly by pressure, you know? You can do that. I do it with my Indian bow because it's so heavy you can't pull it back. But an awful lot of people, I'm sure, do not realize that this muscle back here controls the up and down of your left arm. They don't think that far ahead or feel it. But it's the truth. So that's the kind of things that you have to do. The thing about the anchor, again, if your arm is all the way back, you'll find your own anchor. For me, I want that arrow to be very close to my eye. It's just easier to line up. So I've started to raise my anchor up so that basically my index finger goes on the apex, and I also hold my head over so that the arrow comes straight back towards my eye. If you have your head up, you know you're doing this. But if you have your head down, it'll come up from under and be very straight. So those are the things that again, I'm going to preach to you, Tristan. That kind of stuff is all feeling your own body. But again, what you've asked about most important is this muscle down here. If you've got the weight on it, and you try to lower it by relaxing that muscle back there so that it will go down, the weight just pulls it down. Do you like that? Pulls it down. So to avoid that kind of thing, you've got to keep your arm out straight. Twiddly, twiddly. Anyhow, back in a minute. Oh, no, not back in a minute. And if you do that, of course, you'll get the piggy. Oink, 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 oink. Out in the dark forest, Tristan, where that boar lurks. Anyhow, hope it's helping you out, buddy. Okay, guys, just to lighten up the movie a little bit, I've got myself a new glove, as you can see. So very similar to the old glove. The old glove, if you can see, it actually has a hole worn right through it. And of course, the cordovan's been coming off, so I take crazy glue and just touch it up and it sticks there. Well, this glove is shot, I don't know how many, 100,000 shots, I don't know. Tremendous amount of shooting. But looks like a dead rat, doesn't it? But anyhow, I got my new glove, and the big point of these gloves is that you can get your fingers to come out so that you can tell exactly where your hand is on, you know, the little apex or by the corner of your mouth or down on your chin, wherever you want to touch. So that's one thing. The other thing is I tried for the first time some store-bought arrows, and they're 5/16, and the bow, you know, the bow is a 40-pound bow, and I've always shot arrows that were a little bit stiffer, but anyhow, these are for a 35 to 40, and they're working great. They're nice and light. I think they're about 300 or 430 or something like that compared to the 11/32, which is up around 480. And if you have a 125 grain, you know, they're up over 500. So anyhow, nice light little feather, or light colored feathers. Anyhow, that's what we're doing. So those are a couple little changes, but let's do some shooting now and a little less talking. Okay, Tristan. You know, sometimes there's other things that go on. For instance, you hear about being overbowed. Then it makes a guy feel like a weakling, you know. But that's not what it's all about. But if you're shooting a lot of shots, you know, if you're shooting 100 shots and you have a 40-pound bow, that's 4,000 pounds. That's not 40 pounds, that's 4,000 pounds, right? So I find that Horace Ford said bows over about 55 pounds are useless, and I agree. The weight goes up, the weight of the arrow goes up, but you're not shooting better. It's a lot harder to shoot. It's better to shoot a bow that you enjoy shooting. You know? You know, people say to you about the shaking, you know, that kind of thing. A lot of that is because you're fighting to get it back, so everything is shaking because you're trying so hard to get it back to that special anchor. Baloney. Listen, go past the special anchor. Just go past it. And now you don't shake because all the weight is just pulling your hand forward. If you go past, the bow will pull your hand straight forward. But if you struggle to get back, you're going to fight it. So just try relaxing a little bit. Get past it. Now relax. Let it go forward so that the arrow's pointing towards the target. Give that a try. I think it might help, you know. Anyhow, I think I'm going to call it a night. I've been telling you stuff for a while. I hope that helped out, Tristan. And when you do that, you'll get your hits. You'll get your hits. Keep your arm straight. Keep it relaxed. Pull against the draw. Well, Tristan, Good shooting, my friend. Take care.